Hi there, welcome back. I'm Go Via Go Home. Today we're going to start a new series, and it's building kits. I'm going to start with this kit here. I have already done one in the past, but I really enjoy it, and I do need it for my layout. It's the Magic Pan Bakery from Walthers. I specifically love Walthers kits. They're really easy to build, lots of detailed parts and whatnot, but I'm going to go over the build, and you'll see it from the ground up and what to expect if you do plan on getting this kit, and also gonna review it after, just let you know my overall thoughts on the kit, and if all the parts were there and whatnot, and just the overall experience of building the actual kit itself. So enjoy, and we'll take a look at this. Is the part one for the Magic Pan Bakery, and then I'm not sure what building I'm going to do next, but stay tuned. One of the first things that you can expect when opening up this kit is a lot of plastic parts. Most Walthers kits are plastic, and these are all sprues. Now there is still more sprues, but I took all the big parts off. I like to get started by clearing all the flash and whatnot from the bigger pieces so that I can get the main structure together. There are many parts, both big and small, that come in this kit. One of the things you want to do beforehand is always give your instruction booklet the look over. Sometimes it's 1 page, sometimes it's 5 pages, but either way, you need to know what you're doing before you actually build this. Each part is actually labeled with a number, and then you'll be able to find that exact number on the plastic sprue. So as for all these little parts, they're still on the sprue, which is fine. But all the big ones are fairly simple to identify and place. So that's why I usually take those out first, and then I can put them together and then paint them and then add more parts to them. All the detail parts anyways. Some kits even come with decals. We'll be using most of these later. It comes with both the Canadian and American flag, which is great. The huge Magic Pan Bakery sign. Magic Pan Bakery for going down the tanks. Safety striping and some other little numbers and whatnot for the doors. Safety signs. Not too many, but still enough to get this looking a little bit more realistic after we're done. Some of the tools that I use for this kit is an X-Acto knife, clippers, a file or some sandpaper, some quick dry glue. I prefer the Tamiya? Is that how you pronounce it? Tamiya? I don't know, either way. It basically melts your plastic together. And tape, just for those pieces that you want to tape down to hold while you're adjusting things. And then obviously your different paints and whatnot, but that comes much later. So when I start to assemble this, I'm going to start with the flat pieces here, which is the circumference base of the actual building, the base for the office, and then there's also this building that goes up in the back here with the tanks that attach. I'm going to start right here. I did take the liberty to cut out all the wall pieces, okay? And then obviously there's a bunch of small wall pieces as well. Some of them have little doors, some of them have receiving doors, truck receiving doors. So there's the ones for the truck, one for the train to transfer to the rail, and then obviously the office as well. And we have all the connector pieces that will basically connect the wall pieces together. So now that they're all cut out and whatnot, I'm gonna get the base together, and I'm gonna figure out my wall pattern as to what goes where, because it usually fits about three or four across, I believe. And I have to figure out where I'm gonna put what doors. So I'm going to glue the base, and I'll be right back. I'm also going to glue the tanks, but I'm not going to attach them to the base yet because these are going to be a separate color, and I have to paint most of that separately. So I'm gonna get a bunch of this together and I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm just gluing a few of the smaller parts together first before I get to the main building. Remember when I said I needed tape? So this is basically it here. I only have 2 hands and I don't have the extra tools that you can get that could square something like this off and hold it in place. So I use tape. It's not super sticky, so I don't have to worry about it leaving a residue. But basically, you lay them down and you make sure that they are even. And then you put the piece of tape across and then you can stand it up like this. And when I look at the inside, I can basically put glue right along that there and then let it hold. And I don't have to worry about it coming undone because it's taped. And then I can do that right around and create the whole square building just like that. So it's about that time that I decide how I'm going to put my wall sections. Because like I said, you get different wall sections. This one here, it comes with a bunch of plain, but there are holes. You can cut extra holes depending on what your building does require. But it does come with sections like this here where it has a door, or it has loading docks for trucks, and then these wall sections here, which will be from building to train or to rail. So for something like this here, I put this right next to a set of box cars, and that's the distance that you want them to be from each other, so that if you have 2 box cars parked there, you're right at the doors. If they're like I guess the 50-footer box cars. If they're smaller, you know, they might be off by a little bit, but then obviously on the front, because this is the front of the building, is just going to be plain. And then on the back of the building, there's just going to be a single door. So it's going to go right like that. So I've already got those walls together. That's glued. But now that that is glued, I need to make sure this is square. So I'm going to put it right in the corner here, glue right along here, glue right along here, and then I'll be able to add the other 2 wall sections. Okay, so for the most part, this is it. Your front office here, then your building, a big building, your tanks, and then a smaller building in the back here. All these pieces, like none of this is actually attached. The roof is not glued down in any means. There's the lid here, the roof, and the roof on the front. This isn't even attached to the main building, but everything else is attached. So it's good for paint now. So we're gonna do like a primer on it, just a base coat, and see what else we can do with it here. We've got a whole bunch of other detail parts that still obviously need to be painted as well, and we'll work on that and get everything ready for final assembly, weathering, decals. Still lots to go, but this went together really quickly when you pre-prep all your pieces. Okay, so I've already primed it. You can see this one in the back here that I did spray already. I did spray this one, and then I took some brown acrylic. Not too heavy on the brush there, but I just dry brushed it on. You can see that there's a lot of inconsistencies with the color, and it's not super dark. You can still even see, if it focuses, there you go, you can still see the brick there in the mortar. Some bricks are a little bit heavier than others. I'm gonna go over that with some chalk after, and I might darken it up a little bit and give it a bit more of a weathering look. But basically that's how I'm gonna do it. I also painted the top part here, that's black. That just did a flat black. That'll go up there after, but I'm not gonna attach it yet. And then on the front part of the building here, as you can see, basically I painted the black right around the windows on all 4 sides. I had to tape it off, but it wasn't super successful, as you can obviously see, but that'll get covered. I'm not sure why the spray actually leaked through like that, so that's kind of weird. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to paint the rest of that brown. I've got all the detail parts for this ready to go, so I can probably knock this thing out today and get that done. So that'd be fun. But yeah, I'm going to start with those 2, and then I'm going to move over to the building after. I also have a bunch of the detail parts that I'm ready to add on here that they're already painted. So before I go ahead and weather it, I'm going to add those detail parts. Now, I wouldn't use my other glue because the other glue is good for plastic to plastic, where I'm going to use Instacure. So this will work with painted products, and it'll just it'll glue the 2 pieces together, and it's very strong and it should work. So this is the top part of the tanks here, and this will have railings going all around it. Now, instead of me painting all the railings and then trying to glue painted to painted pieces like this, what I'm doing is I am cutting them out and putting them through the pre-drilled holes, as you can see here. And then I'm going to use this glue here, which is for plastic to plastic, because as you can see, the underside is not painted. So when it goes up through the hole and I put glue in there, it's going to hold them in place. And then I'll just go over them after with white paint and a tiny paintbrush, and I'll be able to paint them all while they're glued right on to this. So I'm going to finish this off here, and then I'll be able to paint them. So as you can see, I did add all the railings, and I have since added an acrylic yellow to the handrails, just to give it that somewhat of a safety striping. On the stairs and whatnot here as well, I also painted everything black, and then I had painted the yellow for the handrails, obviously for safety reasons. So next, it's basically just a matter of I'm gonna have to paint these white. Just to give it a primer color here. Obviously they're not glued down at all, but it'll look better once it's glued. And then I'm gonna have my tanks and building there. So got a bit more detail to do, a lot of piping, and this piece will be done. But for now, that's part 1, and we're just gonna wrap this video up, and stay tuned for the second part of this build, and we'll finish it off.